Now over to our casters, over to Sims and Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Capture the Flag on Truth will be your first game of this Grand Finals for the loser bracket side. Sims and Bravo to cast this one through. Now, Andy, a lot riding on this game because one of these two teams will make it into the championship bracket.
Right, this is going to set them up, of course, not only for success in terms of seeding in the bracket, but also, how the momentum they have. They want to come out on top of this match, of course, and go to the Grand Finals here. But kicking the match off here with Crystal.
Expecting a bit of a slower paced game to start off with. A couple of windy shots. That's going to cost him his life. Unfortunately, SLG and Punisher picking one up a piece down in the kill feed. You can see on the left-hand side, goes one-on-one with Fragger. Fragger says, nope, you're going down, my friend. Puts a bullet between his eyes, and he is down. We'll get these nameplates changed in just a second because, of course, we are not on with Endpoint. It's Vexed versus Supremacy, so we'll just get them recorded in the back in just a second. But for now, let's hop on board with Lunny. Taking a look at his radar, no one around him at the moment. In fact, saying that, I'm going to catch one just on the bottom, but his teammate is there on the rampart as well.
And one thing I got to say, Sims, anyone who watched the earlier series today and even through the rest of the weekend, some stellar plays from Lunny. The way he moves around the map, there was times where we were on board with him for a minute and a half plus, really having quite a long average life, low amount of deaths, but also sequences where he's just connecting kills and moving around the map to set his team up for the perfect place.
Yeah, just looking at Cristela here, attack mag in hand with one player. He will go down. It's actually going to be Riots, and Nurix takes him out. That's 3 members now of Vex. They're going to be putting Supremacy into the respawn screen. Riots up here, popping down on P3, trying to get an angle, making sure his teammate does have cover. Nurix drops down. He's probably going to get taken out. In fact, it's not. It's Nurix who answers. It's going to be a trade-off there with Quad. Here comes the bottom mid run. And that's something we're seeing a lot more common, Brav. They'll just take it, run it bottom mid, hands his teammate a package, and there you go. FedEx delivery on point, on time. 1-0 now here to Vex.
And one of the reasons that bottom mid run worked so well, you saw, because he did have a teammate that right away went to the top of the base. Now, if you're familiar with kind of Halo 2, Halo 3 style of Heretic gameplay, the bottom mid run was a pretty valid run and a pretty common and frequent one. In Halo 5, it's a bit more difficult just due to spawning and the speed of the game. However, you can execute that bottom mid run really well as long as you have a teammate that's ready for that and just enough players dead on the other side.
Flag is going to be on the move, but Camo's there trying to stay alive. And look at that, Punisher doesn't see him. He just goes steamboats back. I like this play. Pause for a second. Now he can get the move on. The flag's in the base, though. It depends whether anybody's going to be there to help him out. Unfortunately not. He's met with Quad. Quad picks up 2. That's a huge double kill. His teammate will try to take top middle control. He'll also be forced out. Did he actually get the return there? I'm trying to see if he did, or did he just bail with the flag? I think he got the return.
Looks like it's going to be the case because we do have a flag coming the other way. Sims could be 2-0, so right away, just on the doorstep, I think and a stealth cap to boot. So I think we got to give credit to Quad there, right? He not only got that stop, but then also gets the stealth cap. That's pretty much a one-man show to be able to come across and now go up 2-0. That's heartbreaking, though, for the other side on Supremacy.
Yeah, if you're picking up a stealth cap there, it's kind of speaking volumes. What your teammates are doing around the map, just slaying out the opponent and allowing your teammate just to creep across. I mean, he didn't really even tried to get that fast. There were no bounce, and it was just a nice quiet walk away. And there you have it, 2-0. Cristela and Quad and Riots, 1, 2, 3 members of Supremacy. Bodies hit the tarmac, and once again, Andy, we're running the third and potential final flag of this game.
All right, look at this now. Cristela on your screen as he's going to bring this in. He's got all the escort and help he needs. He brings it in there. They're going to win that one fairly quick, Sims. 3-0 in game number 1. CTF on Truth, kicking the series off just the way they want it.
I've got to put it out there. Game 1 going up against Infused, when we looked at Supremacy, they threw absolutely everything. I mean everything at Infused. And for the first 10 minutes of Fathom CTF, it was paying off. It was looking good. They outslayed Infused, but they wasted everything. They wasted all their energy on that 10 minutes. You kind of called it when you and Dan were speaking about how they were playing that game, just playing for that one flag.
Yeah.
As soon as they lost that game, that is the biggest tilt I have seen in European Halo. Losing all 4 games and now losing a 5th one on the back of that. Honestly, I mean, they've got to do something. They have to step up because they just got annihilated.
They did, and like you said, that first game they played, not only did they outslay the guys on Infuse. They outslayed them 95-78. So that not only is an outslaying, but when you lose the CTF game where you've outslayed 95-78, that is a massive disappointment, and it's a series of errors. It's the only way that can result in a loss. And just like you said, for them to not be able to convert with that much opportunity, outslaying by such a margin, did not set them up well. And you see in this game here, not ready for what Vexed had brought at them, and even faster CTF 3-0.
Looking forward to seeing how this one bounces back. Can the French really dig themselves out of this hole? Because that's what I feel like they're in. I feel like they're in a bit of a hole now after that Infuse game. I mean, I don't speak French, but even if I did, I'm not seeing any words coming out of these guys. When we look at all these other teams, Brad, you're seeing their captains and their coaches in the back. They're discussing things. They're saying, what could we have done better? What do we need to do next? Come on, boys, let's get this and get this job done. But there is no conversation happening over there.
And even on a loss, you'll see that, right? You've seen teams here on this stage this weekend where even after a loss, right, they're still giving fist bumps, right? They're still talking about exactly what you said. Here's what we're going to do different. Here's how we're going to approach this game differently, and to get their heads into the next game. And I mean, that is a sign of a winning team, right? They not only do they shake that off, but they can take takeaways, right? Maybe it comes down to communication. It might be prioritization of different things, power weapons, helping teammates, right? How do you prioritize different callouts that come through? There's hundreds of combinations of things that could have gone wrong in that game. You're hoping, if you're a Supremacy fan, you're hoping they can reset here. Kali Slayer is going to be game number 2. We've seen some excellent Coliseum matches here at HCS London. Earlier today, not the last series, the series prior to that, Infuse Supremacy, we saw Infuse with a dominating performance, making it look far too easy. And if you're on the Supremacy side, you got to hope that they're going to put up a little bit more of a fight here in game number 2.
As an ex-coach yourself, what do you say to a team that have kind of dug themselves into this grave?
You know, on this one, I think on a 3-0 Truth CTF with the way it went, I think you have to, that is one game that you do just leave behind. When you look at Slayer Coliseum, and I think there's one of two options. If you're a confident team and you know you can play this game type fast, you get on that strategy and you control the pace of the game. However, if you feel like you truly are down against Vex and you might not be able to play that way, I think simply slowing things down and trying to maintain control at your comfortable pace is the way to go.
Let's see if Nurix can grab these rockets straight off of the spawn then. He will crouch down, but the nades are going to come in thick and fast. Manages to stay alive, but they're going to know he's here, obviously because those hit markers will have given away his position. One of his teammates, actually, I believe, who was taking those rockets, unless they were combat evolved away from him, but I didn't quite see. So we'll have a look across and see who has picked them up. It's a combat evolved that comes in from Vex. That's going to be Cristola now, applying the pressure hard here. His teammate will come in. Quadios picking up with the assist.
That's right now. Tied 3-3, like you said. Vex able to steal those rockets, and you saw a very confused French team. Not sure where those rockets might have landed, but they were already far gone, and now still in the hands of Vexed here. They're going to try to just maintain snipe control and see which player might poke their head out, because they'll be on the receiving end of a rocket.
Both power weapons in hand here. That's going to be Vexed. Just creeping around, catches one above his head. Ground pound stall comes in. Unfortunately, he just gets absolutely destroyed. Hits him square in the face. Lunny, meanwhile, hard scoping in on this red elbow, hoping someone takes a little trip downtown. He finds one. Grenade goes in, tries to force him back. Riots is there as well if he can flush him into his waiting arms. And now just staying alive. I mean, it's the perfect play, right? You don't have to push out. You don't have to rush. You've got teammates in front of you and you've got teammates behind. So just locking down this snipe side and allowing Lunny to kind of do this. Oh, if he'd have got that, that'd have been belting. Max, unfortunately, will get beaten down. Punisher stays alive. But this is a nice play. 10-6, very early lead. Goes for the no-scope. Lands it. Hits Nurix square in the back of the head. And now looking for those spawners that come straight off the back.
Jeez.
Another quick poke as well. See you later, SLG. He's usually the one on the actual giving end of this, but this time around he's on the receiving as he will fall.
That's right, 13-6. So in the first few moments here, Supremacy had done fairly well for themselves, considering they failed to get any of the power weapons, right? The game was just about within 3 kills, but as I start to finish this sentence, the game is now an 8-kill game, 15-7. So right now is immediately where you're going to need to see the Supremacy guys slow down the pace. They're going to need to sit back in a base and maybe make a decision where they can get a flank route, get a jump, find someone around the corner, but it's not easy when you have a player like that and landing those no-scopes. 18-9, this game quickly getting out of hand.
Lunny smashing Supremacy all over Coliseum. Finally, it does go down, but you can see we're feeling it. We're going for the no-scopes, and when you can approach those players and not even whiff them, but actually land the shot, tag them up with the initial pick, and then whip out the Magnum to seal the deal, you got to have confidence in your shot, and that's exactly what Vex do now. It'll be a good game, and I'm hoping they put up a much better fight than what Supremacy did if they make it on to the Grand Finals and face off against Infused. But we've still got potentially 3 more games in front of us now. Moving over to this elbow side. He has just spotted one, so he's just trying to creep around. He's going to come out. It's going to be Nurix versus Quad here. I would assume the Carbine would win. Goes for the duck and just gives him a bit of a left hook straight to the ribs, takes him down, and once again, Lunny with the sniper rifle.
And Quad will eventually fall there, but my goodness, how annoying was that? You're spawning in the back of red, and you immediately find a player with a carbine off a spawn. You spawn bottom blue, and you're getting pegged across the map, just laying down shots every which way, and so deadly with that weapon. Here we now see Vexed almost doubling their opponent's score at 20-7-15, and it's largely because they've consistently kept at least one player on the enemy team off spawn. They've almost always been in something like a 4v3 or a 3v2 scenario in just about every single spawn cycle.
I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to put my finger on it. Something on Supremacy is broken right now, and I don't know if it's just their will. It's certainly not their ability to play Halo, because all these guys individually can play Halo. But they're just a broken team. After getting such a massive defeat, it would have been such a huge victory to them. And they really, really wanted game number 1 against Infused, but it has completely and utterly broken them. And honestly, this sniper rifle is just doing so much work on them. It's sending them to town. Supremacy are not the same French roster that we all know and love.
No, it's not. There's a few things here, right? They're getting hit across the map from Sniper. You just had 2 players over there. It was also Riots there with the rockets in Blue Fountain. You've got Quad still sniping cross map, all sorts of angles. Look at this, hitting body shots as well, making it so difficult for them to move. But Sims, to talk about that, I mean, you got SLG who just won the free-for-all, right? I mean, he's obviously playing well this morning. His shot is on. Jimbo said it perfect earlier, and then a well-known fact throughout every single Halo title. Free-for-all and 4v4, completely different games. The skill does not necessarily transition over, but the shooting skill certainly does. But on that topic as well, we saw Supremacy do a loser's bracket run in Wembley, right? We know they're capable of this, but we're not seeing it right now.
Not at all. What we are seeing is Vex just going to town. Another bullet comes past his face like something out of the Matrix, just whiffs that one. Punisher picks up a double. That's a nice start for them. Can they get themselves back into this? It's not impossible. We have seen comes back from deficits like this in the past, but honestly, it's going to be no easy feat. Finally, they get rid of the sniper rifle. The rocket's not on the map either, so no power weapons in play. They do have the carbine. They do have, I believe, also the DMRs as well. So they've got the rifles now. They need to get the map positioning, put themselves in a decent place, and at least try and block them into spawn and just slay.
And you know something, it certainly is not the best outlook to have, but it's probably the best outlook they can have at this moment. Just like you said, if they can slow this game down for just a moment, maybe make it more like a 50-41 of some sort, go on a real rally here to feel better going into Game 3, it would certainly make a difference. However, it's not looking like that's going to be the case.
Which is what they're kind of doing, right? They're kind of starting to get these kills now and work as a bit of a unit, but it's going to be too little too late. We have 6 minutes remaining on the clock, and it's a 12-kill lead. Fragger finally stepping up to the plate. SLG sniper rifle in hand. Now, this is a young man who can do damage with this weapon. It's time to step up to the plate, my friend. No one, you need to find these faces, and you need to find them now. 10-kill deficit here for Supremacy. They're not out of the woods yet.
I'm also looking across to see exactly what Vex is doing, because they're obviously playing a little bit slow, but let me tell you here, 35-45, down by 10. Sims, crazier things have happened, but it will not be easy. Too much pressure, I think, is coming in.
Yeah, look at that. They're pincering in. The call comes out. One player drops through maze, and all of a sudden he is dead. SLG is no more. Sniper rifle should have transitioned into the hand of Vexed. I'm hearing bullets going off in the background. We'll try and find where that is, but honestly, it doesn't matter because they only need one more kill, and that is potentially going to be a GG to Vexed eBuyer. We're on board with Lunny, and then all of a sudden you just see victory does sweep in on screen. 50-36. Colosseum Slayer ends 2-0 now, and Vexed, well, they are looking. You know what? This is a weird thing to say. I don't know if they're looking solid or Supremacy are just looking god-awful.
You know, I'm actually wondering the same thing. I think we're seeing a very talented Vex squad. You saw Riots pick up that last kill. He's also the first player to jump out of his seat to exchange handshakes and pounds there. Congratulate his team on that second win. They've got to be feeling pretty confident. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the stats now in just a moment. Looks like 19-8 from Lunny. Quadios there 13-7. Riots and Cristola rounding out their roster, negative by just a bit. but 50-36 is the score. You know, it didn't even feel that close the whole game, Sims. It felt like at the end, Vex just doing a little bit of finishing that game and kind of pushing because they had such a huge advantage.
19-8. We saw him doing work with that sniper rifle, Lunny. And we actually said this coming into this event. He was certainly one of the main people that we wanted to watch on this roster. He's got a lot of talent, especially with his aim. His aim is absolutely disgusting, but you kind of mentioned it. They've got a decent coach in the back behind them, and they're just working as one solid unit, and that's why, you know, all these teams are going to Denver at the end of the day. It's needless nothing to say about that one, but at the moment, Supremacy, something's not right. Something isn't right. They need to take a step back, maybe just have a bit of a quiet word with themselves and say, all right, boys, what's going wrong here? Because it doesn't feel like the aggression's there. This team's always been known for being aggression. That's why they've caught teams off in Europe in the past, because they'll play them, and it's like, we didn't expect this. This is a really fiery French roster. When you play them online, they have a couple of connection problems because of where they live. And then when you play them online, it's a different team. Mm-hmm. It feels like maybe now teams have kind of, like the old Optic Gaming roster and Splice, teams have realized what they're going to do, and they've kind of been watching them and understand and really playing them at their own game.
You also have to wonder about Nurix, right? How is he feeling with this roster? He's had a solid weekend. He's gotten his team this far, but perhaps something isn't clicking there. Because remember, last time we saw their losers bracket run at Wembley, it was with a different roster. It was with Solar. So that could be a factor as well. This next game, I believe, is going to be Rig Strongholds. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. Taking a look at the first two, the speed at which Truth CTF was played and the dominance with which Coliseum Slayer was played does not point well to a Rig Strongholds going out well. I'm not too familiar with Rig Strongholds with Supremacy. Your thoughts on how they might fare here?
So Strongholds is the saving grace, I kind of want to say, because the French love to move. And Supremacy are very, very good at Strongholds. It's a very rock-solid team. However, I was speaking to kind of Harry on this, and we had this discussion yesterday. When you're looking at Vex right now, their slaying power is on point. And if they bring this to the table, it's just going to stop all Supremacy's momentum. They'll be too focused on trying to get these strongholds, and while they're being focused on them blocks, they're just going to get to be rained down from above, because if it's one thing you do tend to find on this, with it being a multi-layer kind of map, people are always in the air. People are always looking down upon you. There's only Nest that, well, we saw it yesterday, even Nest these days isn't safe, because you see people just hanging up on that ledge, generally with camo, just hiding away. No matter where you go, you've always got someone on an elevation above you, so they need to be very, very careful. We'll see how this one does come down.
All right, now kicking this thing off here with Cristola, as you see right off the bat. Going to go grab that scatter shot as well, and going to go back rail for a second. Looked like he might drop off, but also loved right there, just clambering up and down. He's able to keep himself, kind of make sure he stays out of angle of that back ramp.
Yeah, we'll keep on with the Spec Nova just a little bit and try and show you guys at home exactly where people are. Cristola now just sees one of his teammates fall there. That's going to be, excuse me, it wasn't. It was actually an enemy, as Lunny just comes in straight from across the map. Will blow up the barrels as well. Grenades will go down, but there isn't actually any hit markers. So no player over in Nesta is clear. They need to advance over there now. One player will fall. That's going to be Lunny taking out Fragger. Lunny with this power weapon control from this young man so far has been absolutely on point, and a very pivotal change in why they are winning out these games.
And right here, see Nurix now with the camo. Lots of opportunity here. Not only do they have the 2 points, and scoring also has help in the basement secure. So often off the bat, looked like it was going to be a total control, but right away they do get countered. So can't run away with the scoreboard just yet, but regardless, Supremacy showing an early lead. However, Sims, if I'm a betting man, looks so far this weekend, especially in EU Halo, it happens in NA as well. The team that gets the first stronghold control, it isn't always the best sign, right? Because the other team is often simply waiting to see how things play out before they set up.
Yeah, and as we look at that, I mean, fair enough, they're getting these plots, but it's how, when you're watching it, Vex just keep executing these pushes very, very well. When we see them, all of a sudden they'll have, okay, we've got a couple of plots here. You just see this wave of Vex players. They just drop inside a stronghold and completely take it from them. Supremacy, they do have a little bit of a buffer, but it's only 8 points. That could be very, very easily changed, Brav.
One little thing I want to show right there, Quad. We were just on board with him in Nest. You might have noticed he just shot those scatter shot blanks. For those of you who might be new to competitive Halo, just fired off that shot to make sure the weapon would come back and respawn, and that his opponent would not find a scatter shot with one bullet in there. You might see similar situations like that on maps where you can jump off the map. They might take a sniper rifle off the map, even a rocket launcher on Kali, just to throw that off to make sure that the opponents cannot get that weapon and deny it.
Let's see if anyone's creeping around here. Catches one, opts to not shoot for a second. Lonnie's going to pick that up. He did pause. Is it going to be too little, too late? No, it's not, because he will be taken down. Riot comes in with a double, picks up with the charge as well, straight to the back. One player nailing him from down in basement. Not entirely sure where he's gone. He's going to be running through pipes. Going to be SLG. Gets away with his life all but for a moment. His teammate comes in. That's going to be Quad. Takes him down with the assist. Now, this is important. Riot is managing to stay alive. He's actually kind of staying on the side here, which allows him, turns around, pops a bullet between Nurix's eyes, and he does secure the nest area.
Yes, he does, and my Riot being able to stay alive there in middle, you look at it, anytime a player isn't necessarily getting kills, but is staying alive over and over and over again in an area that is of great importance, such as that Whitehall, then they're able to just hold the position while teammates push in, and eventually they did it. And for right now they're scoring, but not without Supremacy gaining quite a lead, 42-60.
All right, then we're going to take a little bit of break here on the caster desk because you guys want to hear what the communication is like. So we're diving on in with a listening with Vexed eBuyer.
He's one shot. I'm one shot. I'm going, lads. Yeah, I'm absolute kid. To your right. I got one. Nice. Round street. It's top rail now. Drop to eat. There's a scanner down. Scanner's down a mech. Scar spawn, boys. Spawn D1. It's probably like tower or something. Scar, you took. White corner. White corner's absolute. Watch this one shot, and I got carted connector. Yeah, no, let's play slow now. Play bottom nest. Alright, go play. Might be a guy who's going to be about 40. You're dead. They're looking for Chris. They're not, man. New rail, boy. Rail camo. Let's get this rail camo again. Good kill. We got no cowback, SLG weak. He's too short. I'm dead. Sorry. Elbow weak. Start for this camo as well, Max. They're gonna be open. Elbow, just stay in elbow. Open catwalk, one shot. I can tell you. Nice shot. Let's help Max get this camo at 4. He's too weak. Frag it. He's one shot. That's chase. They'll be up in 8 seconds. White corner as well. So easy push. Camo's gonna be up now. One's at nest. I got now, 38. And weak at nest, and one's shooting me. Long weak. I'm still too long. No, bottom nest. Long on weak, bunny. One shot, bunny. Literally stay alive, boys. One shot connector. Yeah. Connector now, weak. 3 shots on him. He has grill, I think. I got. Nice. Stay alive, Max. Stay alive. Do not challenge. I got one. Almost one shot. There's another guy. I'm looking. Can we just watch this wrap here? I pick up my nest. Push to nest on me. One shot. One shot down. I'm already basement, guys. Absolutely. Nice. Nest is still weak. We should have gone basement. Don't worry. No. I'm calm. It's just whatever. Maybe S2. It's just. We're on the nest. Nice. I'm long. I'm one shot. Big long. Right behind us all, boys. I need a long. Yeah. We're coming.
And all of a sudden we do see Vex taking the lead there, 61-48, but once again, Supremacy are going to turn this round and try and get into the driving seat of this game. Now, one thing we heard on there, Brad, during the comms was, guys, no challenge, there's no point. Why is it so imperative to kind of listen to those calls when you come in from a teammate, when you know that something's going down?
The Sims, you called it perfectly right. I mean, Riot is just simply staying alive through almost every sequence that we see him in, and there was one time where he did have camo challenging right around the E2 and Whitehall, and you heard his teammates immediately saying, stay alive, don't challenge, because it's so important to keep that camo. And camo or not, call-outs like that make the difference in games. Those are how games are won, right? Making sure that you know exactly whether or not your players need to challenge or not, when do you need help, when to back down. The communication has been perfect, and if you remember before that listening, it was a 42-17 lead from Supremacy. Vexed has turned this back around. Could be a heartbreaking loss for Supremacy.
I love that little bait and switch there. You saw Nurix just pop out the little door, took down that kill. Now, it was so important because if they can somehow control Nest, they'll be able to control this game. I always said you can't really win this game when you're trying to control basement and you can try to control bunker area. They are taking this one, but Nest is like the main turning point from the game, because once you've got Nest, you can just push out to either way and move around and really play off of it. And so far, they've managed to keep a hold of it, and they're down by only 5 points.
You see Riot right there on death cam, staying alive once again with that camo, also using a little bit of a ground pound stall to stay alive bottom mid, but now a 2-point game. Like you said, they've rallied right back in it, and both teams fighting desperately over control of the middle of the map. But here we go. Riot's camo in hand again. You saw him sneak away with that. So huge to stay alive, because look what can happen here. Now control again.
Back off for just a second. He does get felt out, though. They know exactly where he is. They will take him down with the grenades. If he managed to stay alive for quite some time, it would have been awesome, because then he would have been able to feed back, move into BR base, Now we will see Lunny with a perfect 5, does get a duck down, but unfortunately will deal the damage, and he will be taken out. One player needs to step back, though, gets a big double kill, because that has actually single-handedly locked down the nest for them. Now they're all pushing forward. Now they're going for the jugular, Brav. They're going in for BR base. They're going to try and push this triple cap. Watch for them rotating potentially round to basement, but in all this is going down, Supremacy, they're locking down the nest.
Yeah, you called it well, Sims, perfectly. They're going to rotate right away, but it looks like Nest there. As 2 players are in Nest, he's going to have to back down, but you know, I have to wonder, was that trip cap a good idea? Because they have seemed to have lost control just now.
Uh-oh, this ain't looking good. They're all dogpiling down. 1, 2, 3. Triple cap in effect. Now they can really get some points on the board. They can try and put this one in the bank. Scatshot comes out, does the damage. Fragger comes in, will one-tap him because he's no shields whatsoever. Looking above, will jump up. E2 now, manning around. Basement's on its way being taken down. But the best play about this, Sonny, look below him. He's there. He's been a nuisance. Fair enough, he's not stopping the cap on basement, but he's at least pushed it back enough. Look at the scoreline now. Such a huge deficit.
Well, look at him going to drop in. That's huge as well. Like you said, look at this trip cap at 96. They should be able to turn this around. Back-to-back total control, swapping hands. But Sims, I believe this is going to be it.
Lock and load. Supremacy. They're going to answer back.
Wow.
100 points to 83. That's what they needed. They needed this for their morale. That is a good morale boost. Now they need to say, all right, boys, we're back in this one. We're not on this bad streak. We have managed to break the iceberg at least and prove to ourselves these guys are beatable. Now remember, these guys originally met up in the upper bracket. It was actually Vex who were 3-0'd initially by Supremacy. Now it's Vex who are in the driving seat, but with Supremacy getting that 1 win, this could be the turnaround. This could be the little bit of self-belief they needed in this competition.
Yeah, lots of things to point out there, Sims. The big one, of course, being, like you said, Vex going for the jugular, going for the trip cap, and you said they were likely going to rotate around to to basement, and half of them did, half of them didn't. At the same time, they were losing Nest, and they did not secure that triple cap. I think it's safe to say that they overextended quite a bit there. Perhaps a lack of communication, but also perhaps a lack of map knowledge, knowing that Nest was at such risk with 2 Supremacy players there. Basement was not easily secured as well. As a result, Supremacy answered back. They trip cap, and they don't look back. I got to say, on that last spawn, you saw the Vex players, right? They're spawning all around rail spawn. They're just running like they look like chickens with their heads cut off, right? They have no idea which direction to go. It's too little, too late. And you have to wonder if Vex got a little bit too confident there. I would have to argue that if they had just held the 2, really good chance of winning that game.
The one person that was kind of right at the very end there that you had to look for, it was Fragger. You watch where he was. He was down in basement. He managed to pick up 2 kills. Now, doing that did 2 things. One, it kind of locked them back and stopped them moving over to Nest area. He was picking people off. He didn't get the kills as such moving over to Nest, but he at least stopped them from approaching it, so they managed to keep the time ticking. Then he died, but in where he died, I'd say maybe he was there for about a good 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
He just held them back, and he just stopped them moving into basement. And just holding a team back like that does so much.
It set him up so well, because then you had SLG who sat and waited for the point to be controlled, and I think at the end we did have Punisher who also flew in to neutralize that basement threat as well. So at the end, when you needed to keep that composure, it was Supremacy who was able to do it.
And that's kind of what Strongholds can be. It can be such a huge domino effect. When one teammate stays alive and allows other players to move up, sometimes you'll just say, okay, there's only 1 left. Let's rush him. Let's just go full on and get stuck into that stronghold. But in doing so, because he's alive, his teammates are moving towards him. When you get there, you're getting locked down into a corner. You just get bottlenecked, which is kind of what we saw in basement. We saw the bottleneck down on the stairs when the rotation came in, and then they just slayed them, and that was pretty much dagger to the heart, unfortunately. Supremacy, they take game number 3. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, look how close this was right as well. We had Vex leading here, 79 to 71. It was their game to win. Also, as you just saw, their game to lose. As but they're also, I shouldn't speak so, definitely. There's a lot of factors that could have played into why they made the BR-based push, right? They maybe did not have everything they needed or everyone in position where BR-based maybe was actually, playing the odds, and maybe that was their best choice. But regardless of that, Supremacy put themselves in such a good position to not only gain control, but to get total control. And they didn't look back. And like you said, that's a huge win because of the way they did it, right? If they have edged out maybe something where it's 100 to 98 and it's a little bit more chaotic, they're still going to be feeling good. But the way that they won that game should give them momentum into CTF Fathom. This game's important because we just saw them play it against Infused. They were winning it 1-0. Their second half of the game did not look too great, so now the question is going to be, can they put on a better performance here?
They need to bring this infused fire that they had. They need to get into this game as hard and as fast as what they did when they were playing against Infused Game 1, because that was the Supremacy we know and love. That is the French aggression that I've been wanting to see since pretty much the last few games, because at the moment, I'm sorry, they have been a little bit lackluster. Previously, as mentioned before, that win may have been the win they need. Just break the iceberg on this losing streak and really get their heads back in this one.
Yes, indeed. And what I'm going to look to see here throughout this game, and I know many people at home who caught that Infused series are looking for as well, is how is this game going to play different? Should they get the first cap, or even a tie game and say they go up 2-1, any sort of scenario here, how is Supremacy going to play this differently than they did in that very defensive-minded 2-1 loss against the team?
See one player's going to be Punisher. They know his game though. Double kill comes in from Cristola. Trying to get the tag on, that's going to be Fragger. SLG comes in with the assist as well, cleaning it out. Now, Fragger being sent to top mid, take control of this and trying to take control of the map. He knows two players are here up on that silo edge. But unfortunately, it's Lunny who comes in and shuts that one down. 2 members of Vex, they will fall at the moment. It's just back and forth, the ongoing battle for top mid. And this kind of speaks volumes to how these two teams play, right? We usually see Lunny or we usually see Punisher. One of those two kind of really well known for floating around top middle, so they're kind of playing to each other's advantage there.
Yeah, certainly. And anyone who caught day 1 here at HCS London, you'll have remembered the CTF Fathom that had 21 flag pulls. As you can tell at the highest level here with only a few teams left in the tournament, this is a very different game. People are fighting for control of top mid, overall map control, and you haven't even seen a flag pull in the game yet. So very different gameplay style when you get this high up.
Light rifle up top middle. Sometimes you'll mainly see it being used in the windows, looking over towards those, those treehouse areas on the doorway. Of course, it does spawn in the window. One player will opt to, I want to say we're going to opt to stay up there. He does come down for the challenge because he knows that the railgun's down here, and it's such a sick, nasty weapon when you put it in the hands of a man who can use it. There's the double kill, looking for the triple. It was in the window. His teammate does go down in front of him, but now look at this angle. This is a classic snakebite angle. Sit here and just slay as they move forward, or even try and push through garage. I love this position.
You can even, yeah, he has Cristola's help here as well. If they need to get into a battle, he can quickly switch to that Magnum to take out opponents. Look at them. I mean, they are just like ready to pounce here, and they're going to take, looks like a trade though. So that kill from Fragger is very big. Take a look at that in the kill feed. To take down one player when the opponents have such control of the outside of your base on your doorstep, that's huge. That's going to slow them down just a bit.
Quad picking up that double, as we did say, because of his position, it's allowed to get the kills now. Tac Mag's there if he wants to stay sneaky, wants to stay silent. They do kill him, and that's good. That's a big kill. Get the camo guy out of your base. No scope 41 out of nowhere, just comes in at the bottom there. Halo.gg gold rec pack as we are underway with this elimination finals. Triple kill comes in. Punisher's back, boys. Can he get a few more kills? Finally, they take him down. That's another big kill to get him out of this base. But at the moment, Andy, it's just back and forth.
Back and forth, multi-kills coming from both sides there. As you saw, Silo spawn ruining Punisher's potential overkill, as he will fall on the doorstep after that first no-scope I've ever seen on Fathom after that red code. So thanks to the guys upstairs. 8:28 left here, and I think we've only seen a flag pull each. So neither team, you can tell the playstyle, right, Sims? Neither team wants to make too risky of a pull, right? If something looks like it's not happening, very good chance we're going to see them wait for the slays to happen, and I'd have to guess that we'd see both squads skip a run rather than try to risk it.
I mean, Fathom is one of those maps where if you really mess up the pull, and your team's set up, it's not an easy setup to get, but if they are set up, it's very easy to be counted on. You'll see a team just slay out, then all of a sudden they'll just run a flag. Now we're going to be in a little bit of a standoff. I believe both of them are pulling them across.
Yeah.
In fact, no, both flags are actually, this is it, it's on the move.
Say, Lunny went for a top mid run, which I'm a huge fan of if a team can pull it off, but I don't think anyone was actually in position to get that. And it was like, actually, they're going to bring it right in. So excuse me, that's going to be a cap on the other side if you just saw that. So to break that down, Sims, a crazy sequence of events. We saw a pull from both sides. Lunny was stuck in the treehouse. I had a feeling he was going to go top mid with the flag, which is something we saw earlier on in Halo 5 because you can get a really good vantage point on the map. It's a little less predictable, and then try to ground pound down to your front doorstep. But it backfired. That flag is returned, partially because it stayed on the ledge top middle, and we're going to see Supremacy go up 1-0. But remember, this is exactly what happened last game. They were up 1-0, and it fell apart. They need to play a different second half of this game.
I want to see more aggression. I want to see more top-middle control, because at the moment we're seeing a lot of these battles. They end up between Silo and Porch and Bodies. They just fall all over the place. One comes in, trade for trade. You see it in the kill feed. 2 members of Vex, they're going to fall. Lonix still creeping around though, and they've got to be careful of that man because he just does so much damage to a team. But the flag's going to be pulled, and he's going Silo area. He's got teamwork as well. He's got his teammate here to bob around. But look at this. In doing this, Brav, taking this the complete long way, he's actually managed to lock them over the opposing side. This could be 2-0, but he needs some teammates here to help him out.
And he got through. I don't know how he got through. No shots, no grenades come in. I do believe he's going to grab this. Yes, indeed. They do go up 2-0. You got Lunny here waiting for his shields to recharge and the flag as well. So possibly an overextension. We might see a Vex cap here as well.
Riot's grabs a double, and here comes the pull. They need to be careful where these players are. They're going to be spawning on the opposing side. Look for all the enemies of Supremacy running through Garage unless they have been found out. Grenades coming in. They can fast downhill fall now. Can they get the return on this? All of a sudden, we switch over to a POV. Cristola just sees one running across, but they do answer back. 2-1 now is the current scoreline.
Right, and just there, I mean, if you're Supremacy, you got to bring that flag in. I cannot believe that they actually got away with bringing that in. I mean, typically, if you're moving from tree to your flag, you're going to see all sorts of shots and grenades coming in, but actually none of them landed, so we a little bit too late. So Supremacy is going to get their second cap. They probably are willing to let that first counter go in for a 2-1 lead here. So I think our question actually, Sims, has been answered. They have corrected that. They did not play it defensive after being up 1-0. Here they are now 2-1, only 1 flag away from tying up this series 2-2 after being down 0-2.
5:30 remaining on the clock. Let's see how this plays out. 2 players held back, though, unfortunately, in the gen there. 1-on-1 battle here for Nurix. Important to win, which he does. In fact, yes, he does. He whips out the BR at the end there, takes out Quad, so he can stay alive. I'm hearing a bit of screaming behind me, so I'm guessing that must have been a big kill from Fragger. Let's take a look, though. Who's actually on Fragger's POV? Yeah. So camo top mid. Thoughts on this, Andy?
Just got this camo top mid. Narrowly lived to tell the tale because you saw Cristola was looking for him with that rail. And but not going to look. No way home. Still for Fragger to take out Quad there in a 1v2, pretty commendable. But everything's going to slow down for just a bit until we see a pull here from Cristola.
I think we're going to see 2 pulls. We're going to be on the other end of the map as well. But no one's covering that gen spawn. They spawn out and the flag goes down. Easy return here, I believe, for Riot. No one taking it bottom mid. 1 player over on the Silo side. Now, I like going over Silo side like that so early on just because you can keep them pinned back, right? They don't have to put any more pressure on the base. You just apply pressure to them and just keep them in their own 50-yard line. Creeping around Treehouse, 1-on-1 battle. Who's going to win this? Of course, it's going to be BD. Have you seen the size of this man's guns? They are huge.
He is taking his light rifle included there. He's taking his time here with his look. Has not gotten a touch. He waits, even though the flag's barely even outside of the flag stand. Takes his time, gets the kills at tree, and now he's running this across.
That's a lovely little scoop. He'll bump this one over. There's the thrust. And he's weaving in and out of all these boxes, making sure his ass is covered. There you have it. Flag capture comes in. Unfortunately, Supremacy are caught off guard. That is a super speedy, fast run.
I mean,
and now it's 2-2, Andy.
Love the play from Riot. We've been talking about timing all weekend long. You saw that flag was down only just off the flag stand. You know, some people might panic to try to get in there. Instead, he takes his time at tree, wins 2 separate battles with the light rifle.
Oh!
Perfect kill there from Cristola as well, but I mean, I love that from Riot. You pointed it out, Tim. You might have seen him kind of weaving and bobbing a bit. He's taking perfect angles to make sure grenades and shots can't come from the least angle possible. He brings that in. We're now tied up 2-2. So what looked like Supremacy was going to go up here, still anyone's game. And if Vex were to steal this off Supremacy, that would be a heartbreaker.
We'll see how this one does play out. 3:20 remaining on the clock. Top middle control is in the hands of Big Daddy Rice himself, and he's got a fresh camo to boot also. But the light rifle, it does so much damage, and unfortunately 2 of his teammates have just fallen. You can see in the kill feed there, that's Fragger with a nice double kill. But he's standing his ground. He's in a really good position here. He doesn't have to push. He doesn't have to be aggressive. He can just be an absolute nuisance, which is what's happening. He's now going to jump up top mid. He's not going to put any shots down. But it doesn't matter because that player, he's been eliminated.
I'm surprised we saw SLG try to even get an extra touch on that. A lot of things he could have done there, just hung out in the in the base, maybe at engine, and waited for help, which was coming in the silo. So not sure about that desperate touch, but it looks like his flag is still out. Camo has just a bit left on it.
Just a little bit left indeed. Let's see just how much these guys have got left in them, because this is coming all the way down to the wire. Great shots will at least tag that player up. But again, no one calling out that player, Andy. You know, they should have really taken down Right here. Finally, he does go down, but he wasn't looking at him. He wasn't aware. And that player should have said, look, someone's in our base shooting us now. Look at them. Nice angle for Punisher. He's going to hold this one. Grenades will go down. I'll try and bank them off the wall. They're not going to find the target again. Bobbing and weaving through the boxes, stands his ground, puts it out in the open. in the courtyard. Now, I like this play from Lunny.
Look at
Sit
that.
here and drill them. Just an absolute turret, but unfortunately...
Oh my. Fragger with a big return. You could say that's a game-saving return there, Sims. I mean, Lunny had a whole lot to shoot at. He did well to knock down the platform. Takes out another kill with a light rifle, ultimately taking down 3 players at once you just saw. But Fragger knew exactly which angle he had to take for that return and is able to shut it down narrowly, though. 1 minute 40 left, and if Vex keeps this up, they could very well take this.
Super sneaky return. I didn't even see him creep in there, and even look at the flag going down. But as you mentioned, Andy Punisher, game-saving return indeed. They are still in this, all drawn up still 2 apiece. 1 minute 30 on the clock. If this goes past that, we will be moving into overtime. SLG takes out Riot's down in the kill feed. Quad answers back. 1-2 members of Vex answer as they fall. Also, great gun battle though. The Flagnum comes in, but it's very, very left drawn as he will be taken down. New camo's up now, and that's going to be Turk in the back, the coach who's calling this one out.
And it's actually Riot's again. You saw how many grenades were going up there up top, but Riot just swoops and drops and comes away with that. That's going to be the second camo we've seen, back-to-back. Right here, he has the game in his hands if he wants to try to win this before the end of OT, but some fantastic shots from SLG deny that opportunity.
He says no. Get out of bottom mid. Go away, Invisible Man. I'll see you later. Nice elimination from the game there. At least they've taken out one major factor. 40 seconds remaining. Top middle control. I kind of want to say he's in control there of Supremacy, but he's been forced down. 2 players do just nail him as soon as he steps up there. Running straight through courtyard. It's dangerous maneuvers because you are going to get spotted out, but he's going for the aggressive pull here. They may not know exactly what he has dropped.
There was one dead there, Sim, so he had the slight advantage there, 4-man versus 3 to pull.
Both flags are out. See how many are actually dropping, though. He knows the player's here, standing his ground. Riot has the advantage, though, as the grenade does find his target. One player comes, look at this.
Oh, no.
That is a pincer and a half. 2 players just apply the pressure. But it looks to me, again, like Supremacy also have a return of their own. So once again, we're moving into overtime.
Yes, indeed. You'll see 3 minutes on the clock right here, of course, with a score of 2-2. Next flag will still win the game. We will not play out the full 3 minutes.
Oh, Fathom flag. How do we love replays. Let's see how this one does play out overtime.
Don't curse.
I have to curse.
Don't say things
too
like
many.
that.
Too many, Andy, in the booth. It's always with you do we get these bloody replays over and over again. I think we're just cursed together.
Hey, man, I haven't casted for about a year, and I've seen many Fathom replays in the past year, so it has nothing to do with me.
We'll see where this player is. He knows he's got information. I think he may have just crept underneath him. Punisher looking straight down the barrel is going to force him back. Grenades will come in. They'll seal the deal on his fit there. SLG standing his ground once again. SLG just steps up with his behind every single time and says, you want a challenge? I'll take it. I'll take you out any single day. Light Rifle in a brilliant position there if they want to pull this flag out, but they need to get some bodies inside the base. Riot doesn't have the information of where this player is. Unfortunately, they'll fall into the trap there. But now you can see what they're trying to do, and this could be the key to success.
And that is a late camo grab there from SLG. We're on board with it. I think it was at least 10 to 12 seconds later than it came up. So potentially neither team having a time on it, or possibly no one could just get there. But regardless, this camo, of course, could decide the game here. SLG and crew sneaking. This is a player you want with camo, right? He's a tactician. He knows how to get into the space and get the right backwhacks.
He isn't shooting. Finally, he's going to do it, but unfortunately now they know where he is. He'll step back for a second. They still have no idea he does pull out, so he's been given away. Turns around again. The double kills there. He's going in for this one. Unfortunately, though, he's met with a lot of fierce resistance. His teammate were behind him, thankfully. Nurix, though, look again. He's in that snakebite corner with the light rifle. Typical maneuver of Optic Gaming here. If they can pull this flag out and move it to him. But Lunny, he's well aware of what's going on. He's rotated round, eliminated Nurix, and now opened up the playing field a little bit more.
He did. This is a little bit of chaos, like you said. We're seeing pressure from both sides, so SLG and Supremacy need to very quickly choose if they're going to drop and shoot here or try to get this in, but they are bringing it in. All 4 players alive on each side.
He fumbled. He fumbled. That's not very good at all. But I tell you what, there's plenty of people inside this base, and it's Punisher. 1, 2, 3 members of Vex. There's only one guy alive. They've got to kill him. If they get him off this, he hasn't got the return. They take him down. They pincer him. And all of a sudden, it's Supremacy. They get the 3rd and final flag. They are well and truly back in this one. They tie up the series, Andy, 2 apiece.
And chills from that play from SLG. We said how important that camo was going to be, but you cannot just give him credit because you saw he was in a lot of trouble with that camo. Nurix came in with that light rifle, is able to back him up. He used the last bit of that camo to get that pull. Like you said, 3 dead at the end by the time they get the flag to the doorstep right there. They're able to neutralize that last player and then bring it in. So Supremacy not only showing that they can play the distance, that they can tie this series up 2-2, but also that they learned from their mistakes on Fathom Flag versus Infused, which could even point to the fact that they could be a different team should they make the grand finals.
Well, we'll take a look at the kill feed in a second. Ooh, there's some interesting stat lines there. When we bring it up, I'll let you talk a little bit more about them, Andy. I'm seeing 230 bombs, though, coming out of 2 individuals. Unfortunately, I'm seeing a little bit of a rough game there. Let's go down again. 19 and 29, still 21 assists as well coming out of Cord, 25 and 24, 31 and 28.
Right.
Nice to see Nurix stepping up to this play.
He is, right? I mean, that's the question. We've probably even been a little bit harsh on Nurix, wondering at what role he can step into on this squad as the newest member, but doing great work in that game, laying down the second most damage in the game, just behind Lunny. But like you said, Riots, with what he did in that game, 19 and 29, 21 assists on the board. But as I do say, it's surprising though, because he did have the back-to-back camos. It might have been because he was trying to, be a bit strategic and was not using those camos to necessarily get slays, but rightfully so, get the cap. So not necessarily a correlation between his camo grabs and the kills, but in the end, neck and neck down into OT. For a second, I thought you had jinxed a Sims with the replay comment. Couldn't actually believe I heard that out of you.
You know what? It's just become, whenever we cast for you, it's kind of become this bit of a meme, to be honest with you.
It's true, actually. I hadn't even, when we were in the game, I hadn't even been thinking about the sanctuary replays.
I think about it all the time.
I think about it all the time, too, actually, now that you say that. Some fantastic games of H2A there with unbelievable repeats of Slayer, which is even rarer than a Fathom CTF replay, which is quite common.
I always remember that point where let's take it to 5 minutes. Let's do 5 minutes replays and hope for the best. But I was just looking down on the kill feed there. I didn't realize at the end it was actually Punisher with that light rifle who picked up all 3 kills. So a triple kill from Pune pretty much solidified that final cap.
Yep, fantastic work from them. Also, looking at the kills and deaths across the 2 teams, Supremacy actually outslayed by 1. Because we went to OT, a little bit of extra time, 104 to 103 were the final slays in favor of Vex. So a lot of kills on the board, but the 2 teams neck and neck. 5 power weapon kills from Vex, 6 power weapon kills from Supremacy. Could not have been closer. It came down to the wire, but Supremacy, in the end, proving that they do have the chops to take it an objective.
Now, the worrying factor, we are moving into Regret Team Slayer. Now, you guys at home and yourself, Andy, may have heard us speaking about this all weekend long. We are going into Vexed, not only favorite game type, but currently unbeaten game type. These boys are extremely powerful on Regret TS. Now, is there any reason, Andy, you think a team would be specifically good at Regret TS? What kind of key assets does a team need to be good at this game?
Oh, it's a lot of confidence and it's a lot of situational awareness, right? You need to know exactly where your opponents can be spawning, because the only way you can play this game type as fast as a team like Vex does is knowing exactly where they need to be and what they need to be watching to collapse on bases, and not just at top mid. Don't just play a positional game. Instead, right, play a rotational game where they can constantly clear people out of bases. Use top mid as an anchor point, but really play a fast-paced game to keep their opponent on their toes.
Well, it's a nice way to open up this one. The entirety of the team was dead, so it was 4, now it's 5, and all of a sudden they grab 1 back. This is about, oh, that was dirty. Answers back. Carbine on carbine action, and now Vex are finally getting a foothold on this map, and this is kind of what can happen. We spoke about this earlier on the back, how Regret can just turn not necessarily in your favor. A team can just take the map control, take the hype control, and just nail you as you're moving out of these bases.
Really can. It was just 5-1, and now it's only 6-5 in favor of Supremacy. So Vex answered back, and the way they do that, if you notice on your screen, was a lot of baiting and switching, but also just simply sticking together in pairs, right? Amazing, embarrassing actually kill there, as you see the 2 teams are now tied 9-9.
SLG coming in with the gun, puts down a plasma, lets him walk on a mine, and all of a sudden just pops him up with a quick and easy bullet to the back of the brain. See Cristola just hanging around here, trying to block this rampart area, but there are people down below. You can see it on the radar, and you can see the gun of his teammate firing on all cylinders. He's going to try and push this one. In fact, by doing so, he just pushes a little bit too far. One player does jump out and expects the challenge, and now we'll see Vex in the lead. It's only fragile, though. It's only by 3. Still very, very early days. But when you got Lunny just landing shots like this, and you've got 2 rifles, top mid, it's very hard to get out of.
Exactly. You just saw on your screen as well, Riot is swinging around the back of the base. See, they're not just going to sit top mid. You can't play this game type like you would maybe some other Slayers where it's a traditional top mid hold and force spawns. Instead, they're going to be flying into bases. They're going to be cleaning up kills and collapsing, similar to how you saw some Halo 3 maps played actually. Heretic Slayer was played that way. Amplified, of course. A very fast-paced, fly in the opponent's face type of map.
OS is down. And the actual player survives, so that's going to be Supremacy who get that one. We'll see if he does get melted.
He did, actually. He got green gunned immediately. It was Punisher off-screen, got Plasma Pistol. That overshield already is off.
Rip. He's, yeah, well, he's dead then. There you go. They're going to absolutely do nothing with it as we see some more kills coming out of Vexed. We've got there 2. 1 player extra as well. He's going to fall. I'm looking at all these multiple angles, trying to see where people are. At the moment, it's still a bit sporadic and still a bit messy. 1 kill comes out of SLG, 1 out of Punisher as well. He drops down the grenade, finishes it off. Also, Caster's on the floor there. He did opt to just leave it, but it looks like the call came in that 1 person was no shields. He did answer the call there, thankfully. And now he's going to grab it. Please reload your gun. And he's put it away. All
right, now 18 to 22, like you said, still within a few kills for this Supremacy side, and what a go-ahead game it would be if they were to take the series 3-2 after being down 2-0. If you're Vexed, though, you're pretty fed up. These past 2 games could have gone either way, of course, and Supremacy did manage to sneak them out. Vexed does not want to let that happen here, but only a 2-kill game.
And just to kind of set the tone, guys, if you are just joining us, this match, all these teams are going to Denver. This match is not only to send it through to the grand finals of Gfinity London, but also it decides which of these 2 teams joins Infused in the championship bracket at DreamHack Denver. So a lot is on the line for these 2 teams.
And right now, too close for comfort for Vex, right? They're up 27 to 23. It's a great noob combo there from Lunny to give them a 4-kill lead for the first time in a long time, but still a little bit too close for comfort. They're going to want to focus on this next overshield, which is about 30 seconds away, to really rack up their lead.
See if anyone tries to challenge him over here now. I like the fact that he's been an anchor. He's going to stop anyone challenge on there. Doesn't find its target. Fragger and SLG, they come back. But Riot is there to put a stop on this one. Opts to whip out the Magnum. And you know what? I like the play. Don't bother challenging. Shout for Cristola. Cristola comes in, finishes off that guy. SLG does answer back onto Cristo, unfortunately. And now all of a sudden it's a 1-on-1 versus Punisher, but Punisher's going to win that battle. And it's going to be Lunny gets burned, who jumps down. Punisher, though, again, Andy, the man of the hour, who seems to be stepping up. That's 3 in a row now for him.
Right, there goes that. That's a good burn, but in the end, here we are, tied 31 to 31. So top play from Vex to make sure Supremacy didn't come away with the lead in the overshield as well. But here they are netted up. So Vex unable to convert into any sort of lead, right? They're up 27 to 24. That has all fallen apart now as we actually see Supremacy with top mid control, and they have their eyes on this base. They want to push in if they can, but looks like top plays from Quadios and Lunny and Riots to shut down 3. Right now, only player alive, Nurix, for Supremacy at the moment.
But 1 player can spin this all around, as we've just seen in the previous game, and we saw a little bit earlier on. However, they're starting to run away just a little bit. Make that 5. Double kill comes in. Death from above. He will finally be taken down. But he's just going to sit on this angle. Fragger with the BR can get some lines of sight and also a little bit of some lengthy shots. He can stay back at arm's length there. Catches one, but Luddy sees him just as soon as he does. So be calling that one out as his teammate does try to assist him from below.
I mean, once again, look at this, 35 to 37. So what that tells me is that when this Vex team pushes in, they're able to kill all 4. They've done it about 3 times in a row. But in doing so, it seems to be that they're overextending, right? Because Supremacy always answers back every single time. So they need to be mindful of when they get those last few kills. Maybe they shouldn't have pushed the last 2. They can just go up with 2 kills here, 2 kills there, and control their opponents. So we're still netted up here, 38 to now 39 to 39.
It's going to be trade for trade. SLG moving around with Carbine. Nurix now the one to be stepping up. I've seen 2 in the kill feed from him. I saw a triple kill coming out of Punisher earlier on, and then maybe moving on to a killing spree also. Moving around, watching the rampart, watching the angle coming out of red base, and there it is. You'll see the Carbine coming in thick and fast. Look at the bullets moving across the screen there. They're just going to pincer them down. They need top middle control though, and you've got 2 players. Going to be Fragger on the opposing side. 1, 2. Make that 3. That's got to be a triple kill surely for Fragger. Punisher comes in. That is all 4 dead, Andy.
That's massive, and we have an overshield in just about 5 seconds, which could decide this game with a 4-kill lead here. Supremacy needs to play this smart, and Vex needs to get off spawn quick.
Luddy has no idea. One player's behind him. That's a 5-kill lead now. Beatdown comes down. SLG takes him trade for trade. Still a 5-kill lead. Make that 6. Riot's picking up a double, looking for this triple now, but unfortunately the caster will be forcing back. Only 3 more kills now here for Supremacy to take the lead in the series.
Okay, massive props to SLG. You saw just the last second he got that melee. It was forcing an overshield burn. A huge play. They're up by 4. The overshield is burned. Only 2 kills to go to close out this game here. Regret Slayer.
2 players moving around. That's going to be Nurix and SLG. They can pincer this guy above on the rampart. One's going to be dropping down. If I were Nurix now, I'd be shouting for help.
Not over yet.
Unfortunately, it's not there. They're allowed to pick up those 2 kills. And now it's a 2-kill game. 2 more kills for Supremacy to win it. 2 more kills for Vex to get back into it. 5 minutes remaining on the clock. I expect this to go a little bit slowly, but like we mentioned before, anything can happen on Regret TS.
A slowdown indeed, Sims, now, and Supremacy could have closed the game out. They have the opportunity. That's a huge plasma kill from Nurix, and Fragger will end it there. 50-47, final score. Supremacy answers back. They've just won 3 straight to take the series 3-2, heading into the next game.
All of a sudden, the French, they pull him out of the driving seat. They pull this car over, and they have taken the lead in the series.
Wow.
This is coming down to the wire. And once again, Andy, kind of a reflection of the previous map.
Yeah.
It's incredible how just 1 triple kill can completely turn the tide of the entirety of the game.
See Riot's right there, not pleased with the performance in that game. They certainly had their opportunities to win. Anyone who's been watching competitive Halo a long time, you know, you saw signs in that game. Anytime, once again, a team is going up by 4, and then that 4-kill lead is reduced immediately. They're up by 4, and then they're down by 4, then they're tied up again. I'll interrupt myself though. Let's take a look at these stats. SLG 16-11, including the overshield assassination at the end of the game. When you're talking a 3-kill game, I mean, that is the difference in the game. Fragger 12, 12, and 14, and even numbers for Nurix and Punisher. They both go 11-11.
Yeah, unfortunate scoreline there for Cristola, 6-15, but let's see what the damage done says. 2K, so still doing some serious damage from his team. 2nd place on the roster. Lunny, once again, this man stepping up almost 2.3K, but the pressure's on.
It is.
The pressure's on Vex now. This is getting rather heated. 1 more game away from not only being eliminated from the competition, but being sent to the open bracket at Denver.
Yeah, and remember, Sims, right? That if this had been a 5-game series, that would have been a 3-2 sweep in favor of Supremacy. Thankfully for Vex, we are going the distance here in a best-of-7. But man, let me tell you, the one thing I was saying at the end of that game, anytime you see a team that is consistently up by 4, and then the game is tied. They did it once, they did it twice, and a 3rd time. That is a sign of a team trying to make those collapses that we talked about. They have top-mid control. They're trying to force their way into the base. They get all 4 dead. They're doing it the wrong way because immediately Supremacy answers back, right? So they cannot keep map control while they collapse, which is the key to those rotations. And honestly, that is just a downward spiral. Take a look at this rec pack code. Awfully appropriate here. Comeback. We've seen Supremacy not only make a comeback in the series to tie it 2-2, but now they've gone up 3-2.
Funnily enough, last time we were at Gfinity, when we look at Wembley, Supremacy, they went on a 7-game series. They did the full run in the loser bracket to make it to the grand finals.
Right.
They are now 1 map away from doing it again. Now, the biggest thing you've got to look at this here, they have just beaten Vex. They've just taken down Vex in their best game type. That's, I believe, I could be wrong here, that is the only time a team has taken them down on that map this weekend.
Right, and normally, I mean, what we're used to seeing in that map is Big Daddy Riot's top middle laying down carbine shots right into the bases and players that can't even move. Let's take a look at the highlights from that game. It was a nice little early lead from Supremacy, but very quickly they answered back, right? It was then 5-5 immediately. However, from there, it was a minor Vex lead. Look at this, 6-kill lead here, 6-kill lead here, 19-13. It continues, right? 21-16, they're still up. You're gonna see it tied up in just a bit right here. 27-23, and it's gonna just go right around the 30 mark. They're all the way tied up again. So Vex knew how to clear out Supremacy, but Supremacy knew how to answer back.
Come on then, Andy. Let's get some predictions going. Are you feeling Game 7, or do you think Supremacy are just going to ride the wave here? Because we are moving into a Strongholds, which, remember, this is now Supremacy's strongest game type. This is the game type that they beat Optic Gaming Day 1, game number 1 at the World Championship earlier this year.
Yeah, we've heard SLG talk about this game type, right? He's very confident in this game type. I believe he mentioned it in a post-game interview that this is the one that they don't worry about. It's going to be Eden Strongholds. To answer your question though, Sims, I think I speak for many when I say I'm hoping for a Game 7 in this series. It would be epic. Either team is going to put up a great fight, but we got to kick this one off now with SLG because of that back whack he had on the Overshield player to secure the win in that Regret Slayer. Here we are now, Strongholds East.
Oh, and he's off again. SLG straight in with a double. Nurix answers to Lunny as well. OS in the pocket already. This could be the French show. This could be the start of something very, very bad and very unfortunate from Vex. They are starting to run away. Even earlier, just when we talk about kills, not necessarily about the points, Lunny's going to be anchoring on the stairwell there, but it doesn't matter. I've got an OS. I'll accept those challenges. Not a problem. 1, 2, potentially 3 points. If he gets the return on him, he doesn't. So that's a nice kill there coming out of Vex, but Camo and the Rockets from Quad. In case he needs to be careful, he does just tap his teammate a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really interesting play because Quad did have that camo, and it's a really late rocket grab. I'm looking actually at the time that it happened, and it wasn't until maybe 11:20 or so. So both teams left rockets, and maybe there was an assumption on the Supremacy side that Quad would just get camo and rockets, and that they'd fight it differently. But it felt like a little bit of a breakdown there from Supremacy to leave rockets there for 45 full seconds.
All right, Andy, so we look at red nest, we look at red side. This is where currently we see Supremacy spawning. Someone's going to tap up nest for just a second. What's the play here? What do you need to be watching for?
I think right now they just need to make sure that they're keeping their shields wisely, baiting and switching, right? I mean, right here they're going to start to put points on the board finally, but Quad, don't know if he needed to jump out there, right? He had help all around coming from nest as well as Catwalk, but SLG is going to pick up a double here, and they're going to put points on the board again. So, my goodness, does Supremacy look different than they did in games 1 and 2? You and I were worried about them.
They didn't look like the same team. When you sat there with your head in your hands, you're not saying anything to any of your teammates, you're just looking down in the dumps. Of course, you're going to play like trash, no pun intended whatsoever, but it's not going to help you when your morale's not there. You don't even really want to play, but they now believe they've taken a few games. They've seen their captain doing stuff. They see Punisher grabbing triple kills back-to-back in 2 games now. They're looking at Catwalk, but I love this position from Nurix. He can kind of lock this down over at control. If anyone wants to tag it up, fair enough, he can push them back, but his teammates in there, they're now working side by side. Him and Punisher, they're going to try and take Catwalk together.
Yeah, OS and Camo just dropped, so we're going to be keeping an eye on both of those to see exactly what might have gone down. Let's see if we can spot. Let's see, also going to be rockets in play as well in the hands of Cristola. I think we saw a Quad with a grab earlier, but I believe we're not going to see any power-ups in play. Both have been neutralized there, and Cristola's rockets were down as well. So as we're talking about that, throughout that whole exchange, Supremacy not only making sure that the power weapons and power-ups were neutralized, but now they're up 52-4 with a trip cap. This is a different team, Sims.
Andy, you were talking through it, and we were looking at kill feed, and it's just body for body, Vex for Vex. Fragger with a double. There's only one man alive. Oh my word, please stop. They are already dead. That's going to be triple cap in effect once again. This is the French maps for a reason. They said they had no problems coming into this, and if I were a betting man, if you can beat Vexed on their map, then you should be able to beat them on your map.
Yeah, and by the way, that was an SLG burn, I believe, on the Overshield earlier. But one thing I got to say, looking at the total kills here, they're being outslayed 27-12, and the Stronghold scoreboard itself is even more indicative of how much of a slaughtering this is, 69-4.
This is a bloodbath. The pressure comes in from Fragger, adds another one to his tally there, spins around on a pinhead. That's an easy double kill as well. Catwalk now uncontested, pre-grenading down there on Blue Plat. Hoping to get someone on the spawners, going to check Blue Bend. This is what they do so well, Andy. They know when they've got a plot, they don't just willy-nilly and run away like another team would. They'll go and happily just be on the defensive side and just stop anyone trying to take it back. Look at where he is. He's now here already inside Blue Bend. That one player's buggered off. He can get it back straight away.
That's right, that is the motto, Sims. Never willy-nilly. I've heard Supremacy say it time and time again. Never willy-nilly. Look at that kill feed there. SLG picking up 2, Punisher picking up 1 as well. Rockets now up.
This is GG, I believe. I don't like to count my chickens before they're hatched, but at the moment, this is looking like a French toasty. My word. And the rocket goes down. No hit markers will be found.
Jeez.
All of a sudden, we're going to see the OS back on board once again. with Supremacy. There's the double. Going for that trip. His teammate picks it up. There's one more alive. This is a bloodbath, Andy.
Bloodbath indeed, 96-4. Overshield rockets in hand. This one is almost over, just a few seconds away.
97, we're going to tick this one through. We're going to put 1, 2, 3 plots on the board. Nail is banged in the coffin. There you have it, Team Supremacy. They are going to the grand finals. They have booked a spot in the championship bracket at DreamHack Denver. What an absolute incredible turn of face, Andy. They were down 2-0 in the series. That is a Supremacy we want to see sent to DreamHack.
It is, and look at them. I mean, embracing one another. SLG getting a ride there for a second. I mean, they've got to be happy about that. They pulled a full reverse sweep. It looked like it was over for them after those first 2 games, showing barely any signs of life. Once again, they lost Truth CTF 3-0 and Kali Slayer 50-36, I believe. We'll go ahead and take a look at the stats from that game as well. But the guys on the Supremacy side of the stage have to be feeling good, winning 4 games straight.
Look at Punisher. Look at Punisher.
Fragger as well.
4, 12-3 out of Fragger. I mean, that pretty much says it all. We'll take a look at some of the strongholds as well. KDA 11.6. Strongholds captured again, just applying so much pressure, Andy, and never giving up. But not only never giving up, applying pressure and going for the strongholds, never backing down once they have control of them. This is what the French do so well.
Yeah.
You saw it perfectly executed with Blue Bend. They'll see that and think, okay, we know where they're going to be rotating from, not even necessarily spawning, but they can read this like a book and say, okay, if I was them, I'd push into blue. So you know what? We'll send one body over to blue. Hides on the stairs.
Yeah.
Player comes in, it's all of a sudden, well, I can now step out because I'm already here and waiting for you, kid. I'm not even inside the hill. I'm actually waiting for you to move in so I can bait into you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, right? When you get a lead, if you get a lead in strongholds, it's a little bit sizable, anything like 20+ points. It's just like, not too different from a lead in Slayer or a lead in Capture the Flag, where you have the luxury of making some riskier plays where you can bait the opponent, right? They have the upper hand, and they're able to pull off things like that. But that was a slaughter, 100-4. To think that they had lost the first 2 games in the fashion that they did, I think there's no doubt, right, that Supremacy totally shut down Vex. Vex was not feeling good through those last few games, and after losing 3 straight, they did not show out well.
I'll tell you what, I have to give credit where credit's due. To be able to pull your head out the sand like that and do the job that they did and be down 2-0. I mean, what was that? 4, 5, 6 games in a row they lost. And to turn it around and to win 4 back-to-back, we've got to give it credit. But, you know, we kind of can talk all day long about this one when we get the guys over on the desk involved. Bryce, what an absolute belter of a game.
It was an absolute belter of a game. I've got to say as well, I admire the colour scheme you're going for there, Sims.
Wedding attire. Only time I ever get to wear it.
Yeah, very good colour scheme. Very good colour scheme. All right, that was a fantastic game, and now the stage has been set for the next one. What do you think of the rematch?
You know, I was worried about the rematch myself, just because anytime you see a team get 4-0'd, you're worried, right? How exciting is this grand finals going to be? We just watched this team slaughter their opponents. Yes, they've won through losers, but I think actually this is a different story here in this finals. And it goes back, I said it earlier, it goes back to that Fathom Capture the Flag. They knew how to play it differently. Yes, Infuse is a different team, but Sims alluded to it just now. I think the Supremacy we just saw in the last 4 games is a different one we saw in the 6 games prior. I think we could have a matchup here where Supremacy is going to put up a different kind of fight.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Time to get a rest because the grand final is underway. I'm going to go consult with my experts over here, of course. Lethal, strong side. What a game. Supremacy, from being down 0-6 in map count today, ended up coming away with the win. 4-2 over Vexed.
We was right, by the way. 4-2. We even called it, didn't we? Both of us.
Were you a little bit worried, though, after the first 2 games?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I thought Vex were going to take it like there's no tomorrow.
That really surprised me, honestly. I did not see Vex coming out that strong and being able to take game 1 the way they did. I mean, it was a complete blowout. It was a slaughter. They were a freight train, and that game ended very fast. We even saw some OG Halo 2 flag runs down through bottom mid, toss the flag into the window by Riot. So it was nice, little reminiscent back to the Halo 2 days.
All right, speaking of reminiscing, we better get this underway and go straight into map 1 and see how exactly that went down. Now, we were alluding to it being a blowout, and it was 3-0 for Vex. They kicked it off so hot. What was wrong with Supremacy?
It just seemed like they were getting trapped inside their base here. Taking a look at the highlights from this match, I mean, you really just saw Vex really just storm into the base and constantly grab the flag, and keep it moving. It really didn't give Supremacy a chance to even kind of get composed and just regather themselves, because every time they picked up one kill, that flag was moving again.
Yeah, with Supremacy as well, it seemed like every time they tried to cap in any way, they were way too slow to actually block the spawn, or not just block the spawns, but actually stop them from even actually getting to the side of the base. But every time Vex were doing it, it seemed to be really clean caps. And you could see straight away that every time they were pulling it, they made sure at least 2 people were watching for top car. But the funny thing is the fact that it's this point that it doesn't matter how fast they 3-0'd them, it's the fact that Vex did just a much better job spawn trapping them when they're pulling the flags.
They did, and this is where we started to worry for Supremacy as well, because we were like, still not on map 1 today. Is this where they tilt? Is this where they go completely off the reservation? And as we head into map 2, it didn't look all that much better for them. Vex still beating them in this Slayer. I tell you what, Strong Side, what do you think happened?
Well, I mean, it's funny to think about this too. Supremacy got blown out from Infused moments earlier on this same game type. So maybe that was kind of lingering in their heads still of how bad they just lost this game type, because honestly, Vex came in and Lunny was just destroying with the sniper. Riots had rockets, and they just went on a spree again, and again. Quadios with the sniper as well as you just saw. But they had a commanding lead throughout the entire match, and it didn't even seem like Supremacy even had a chance at any point throughout this game.
Yeah, the first half of the game, it was a complete whitewash in terms of how they're controlling Snipe Tower.
Yeah.
Supremacy just didn't have an answer at all. But when it got to a point where they did have an answer, it was kind of too late, because all Vex needed to do was literally keep trading until we carried on with the lead.
Yeah, and this is where we started worried for them, going, were they really that affected by losing to Infuse 4-0? What has happened to the Supremacy team? A lot of people were saying, oh, we should expect them to win the first Supremacy game. Didn't you, Strong Side? But they didn't. And coming into the second one, we were now worried about them winning this next one. However, as we move on to map number 3, very different story. They finally found their feet and started firing back and ended up taking it 100-83.
Yeah, the rotations that they had on this match, Vex put up a good fight at first. They got control of camo, they got control of railgun, but Supremacy were able to kind of get back up on their feet, get a few trip caps, and really put this game into their favor.
Yeah, with teams like Infused, normally they absolutely suffocate them when Bunk and Carbine come in a situation, but the game changer was the fact that towards the end, when Supremacy had this trip cap, they made sure that when they did spawn Carbine, for example, they'd always have control of Whitehall, and every time they dropped to basement to even try and stop the bleeding, they literally just kept baiting them in there and constantly getting trades. So after that, it seemed like it was all over from there.
Yeah, I think it was really well played from Supremacy. Then we finally went, all right, the French have arrived today. It's Sunday, they finally turned up and done something good. Now, it still meant that it was a close game, though, however, as we move into map number 4, 3-2 between the two of them.